opening statement, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Terrific, win for our team. Just thought our guys played exceptional down the stretch to find a way to win the game. I thought we played very well most of the night. Just have a ton of respect for Pitt and Jeff and his staff. Known those guys a long time. He's doing a phenomenal job here. They've got a really good team that just plays very well together, very hard. They're really hard to guard. And, we had to play at a very high level to win. And, thankfully I have some older guys. Our older guys played extremely well down the stretch. And, it was a well-played game by both teams, very few turnovers, pretty good shot making and very competitive by both kids on both teams in terms of their effort and, fight to win. So we're really happy and obviously ecstatic to come out here with a win.
Brad, what did you guys do so well to hold points in the paint?
Well, we shoot it well. So they limited some of our threes. 17 3 attempts is not as many as we usually take. And I think we have the type of team that we look and see how we're guarded and we play accordingly. We've had some games where we make big threes, and we have a lot of guys that can shoot. We're blessed to have some size with PJ, who's an experienced, really good player, and Ian and RJ and even Hunter Tyson and Ben Middlebrooks. Those guys, we're all, good players, improving players in our program. And so we've gone to a bigger lineup after our Loyola loss. I think it's been helpful for us defensively. It's made us physically stronger and better rebounding and around the rim. And I think our guys are mature enough to understand how we're being played and just play the way that make the right play, I guess is the way I should say it.
Brad, what can you say about Chase's effort? It seemed like he really stepped up for you guys to get some energy going and start the run.
Yeah, the shot he hit, the three is huge, right? We called timeout after. He had a couple go in and out earlier in the game. I think he kept going. We got a lot of confidence in him. He did that against Virginia Tech the other night. He got in foul trouble, didn't play as much. He got in a little bit of foul trouble tonight. We had to take those guys out. We were playing well and took those guys out and lost the lead. And then Pitt did a nice job of playing pretty well in the second half. And then we found a way to kind of steal the game here at the end. But it was because of some big time shot making by him. He really opened the floor. I think he had a nice mix. He made a big three. He got in the lane and scored. He did a terrific job.
Well, Pitt goes up by 9, just a few minutes left. What gives you the confidence in this group that they're not done, that they're going to have one more run left and take it over?
I've been, we're a team that's a little different. Brevin Galloway's are really our only transfer. We have a lot of homemade, ready-made players that have developed in our program. PJ Hall's a junior, Hunter Tyson's a 5th-year guy, Chase Hunter's a 4th-year guy. Those guys have been through the wars with us, right? And they've all made big plays throughout their careers. They kind of know how we do things. They've been terrific mentors to our younger players. And so I've always said that I think we have really good culture. We haven't won as much as we'd like all the time, but we're usually a very competitive team in this league. And I think we have a lot of respect from people in the league, especially coaches and teams, and for how we go about our business and how our guys compete every day and handle themselves. And I think that shows up in our play, an unselfish play, competitive spirit to keep playing. Obviously, we have a Clemson grit motto where we're going to stick with things. And we just kind of do that every day. The expectations, within our program are high and accountability is there. And so our guys just keep playing. And, this year's team, we're probably a little more talented. We're older. And so we're reaping the benefit of some of that.
Coach, Jamari Spurgeon had 28 for them, split 14-14 between halves. What was so challenging?
We couldn't guard him either half. He's just a really good player. He's big, strong, physical driver. He's a willing passer. He made a great pass to Elliott at the top of the key for 3 one time late. He's experienced, right? The guy's a 5th-year guy. He's seen it all. He's not going to waver. He's made huge plays in their games this week against Virginia and Carolina. I mean, he's just uber talented and competitive and older, and he's really good.
Coming into this game, both teams were 4-0 in the ACC. It was sort of being billed as the battle for the top spot in the conference.
It's way too early for all that.
Sure, but do you feel like you were watching two of the better teams in the league out there today?
Yeah, I do think both teams are good teams, right? And the hardest part I've said is we talked about this in our ACC meetings. Pitt is much different now than they were when they were 1-3, right? And you watch their film and it jumps out of the page. I think Clemson is improving, and obviously PJ Hall gets more and more healthy. We're better than some of our performances earlier in the year, but our league, we have a hard time sometimes if everything's done by November and December. You're labeled, and it really makes it hard, right? I made the suggestion that maybe we need to either not play as many league games anymore, play more out of conference games, or maybe we need to play more conference games early so that when our teams do get better and later in the year, teams are changing so much, the identity of teams change so much, especially when you have a lot of transfers. We lost some players, so we've got a lot of guys that are still within the program, but Chase is like our new point guard first year. So early in the season, he's learned to play point. And now that he's played it for 15 games, he's pretty darn good at it. And so, it's just to your point, I think Pitt and Clemson are very good teams. And but there's a lot of good teams in our league this year. I think there's a lot of us that are figuring it out. Coaches are in the process of figuring it out, and it's going to be a long 2 months, but an exciting 2 months.
Anybody have any thing to add on Zoom?
Yeah, Brad, get Chauncey some minutes late. It seemed like he gave you some nice minutes late. Just continue to have to step up. Chauncey.
Yes. Yeah, that was I just, for whatever reason, I just felt like this was his day to come in. I just looked down the bench, and some of the other guys maybe hadn't played quite as well. And he's been practicing better. He hasn't played in a long time. He played 2 minutes against Virginia Tech, but I thought we're going to play some zone. His size will help. And, I didn't think he would be afraid, and he wasn't. And, he played 6 minutes, I think, had a huge basket, and his size and length was helpful. So I'm really proud of him, happy for him, because, as a young player, freshman, you're just trying to scratch along and get better, and you don't play and get a bunch of DNPs. And, we just tell him to keep working. You never know when your opportunity is going to come. And this was at the biggest of moments, and he helped us win a major road game.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor. In four of the last five of these wins on the streak, you've averaged about 7 turnovers. Just two turnovers in the second half today. How pleased are you with the way you're taking care of the ball?
Yeah, it's an important part of the game, right? Taking care of the ball. We're not a huge offensive rebounding team, so we don't get as many extra possessions that way. So we can't be giving possessions away by turning the ball over. And, we're not playing at a snail's pace. I think we're playing a little faster the last couple of years. And so to keep numbers down while you're playing a little faster, more possessions, I'm very pleased with that. And obviously that's a significant factor. I think that's something Pitt does well as also.
Hey,
Brad, go ahead. Sorry.
Brad, Hunter, 4th straight double-double for him. Just what has allowed him to sort of take his game to another level, particularly with the rebounding numbers he's putting up?
I just think he's a very confident young guy, or older guy now, but he's always been pretty confident. The more success he's having, and consistency, he hasn't been able to, he's been hurt the last 2 years and missed 6-8 games at times. And it's hard for your rhythm. And, he puts in the time. He's worked unbelievably hard. He's really a professional how he goes about it. His approach, we talk to our young guys about to watch him and emulate what he's like day to day. Because he's like a grown-up. He really is. And he plays that way, and I think he expects to play well, and he's obviously a competitive guy, so he's going to go get his nose in there. And, in some way, maybe playing the 3 some more is helping him rebound more, because he's not always having to put his body on another bigger guy. He's able to fly back in there and get some defensive rebounds. And it seems to be happening.
Brad, you talked about Chauncey not being afraid. How much is the example, I guess, set by the veterans that you referred to earlier, having been through the wars? How much does that trickle down to the younger guys and sort of help them sort of be, I guess, fearless, in your words?
I think, it's game to game, it's day to day with young kids, right? I mean, when some of our younger guys, I thought were a little rattled. RJ's coming off his best game at Virginia Tech, and he really just wasn't. He made a lot of mistakes today. It wasn't his day. And so that happens with young players, right? It's hard to be consistent and to be consistently good. At the end of the day, that's what you're looking for as a coach, is just know what you're going to get, defensively, offensively, whatever it is. And, and so I don't know, is he going to be fearless the next game? I don't know. But, he does. I do think he has poise. I do think that's something that, some kids have a better feel. He has a pretty good basketball feel. He's just getting used to the speed of everything and the physicality and the pace and all the terminology and, the complexities of the game. And he's not athletic enough that he can just overpower it with his athleticism. RJ can kind of do that sometimes. He's got to make really good basketball plays. And he's very capable of that. And tonight he was fantastic in the most pressure moments.
Coach, back-to-back really impressive road games on short rest. How do you balance the momentum of the streak that you're on and kind of guarding against getting caught up too much in all the hype of, being first place in the ACC and all that?
We don't talk about that stuff. Like we're excited to be in important games, happy with how we're playing, but there's 15 games to go in the league. It's 2 months of basketball. We're just trying to improve. We're still trying, we're still tinkering with our team and our lineups and how we're trying to be successful. And so we're focusing on that.
Probably have time for one or two more.
Brad, this is Matt again. Just how important was keeping some composure late for the team when maybe some calls didn't go your way there down the stretch?
Yeah, I think it's good to have an older group. We were a little disappointed on our bench, probably angry at times. But I think, we talked about it in a couple huddles, like, don't be making excuses. We're not going to use, an excuse for non-performance. It's not acceptable. And so we got to play through things. We got to be better. And I think our kids kind of understand that. That's kind of how we talk about it every day. It's nothing new. I don't think that's why our guys aren't rattled or whatnot. Is we got to do what we got to do to win the next possession, and that's what we focus on.
Brad,
is Alex shooting it all, or is he just completely resting that foot?
Free throws right now. He had a little setback this week, tried to be more aggressive with some things, and it didn't really go very well. So or it was actually maybe it was early in the week or over the weekend last week somewhere. And so now it's kind of, taking baby steps back the other way and building back up.
Brad, have you ever had a team with this many answers offensively?
Our Sweet 16 had a few.
That's true.
Those guys were pretty good.
All good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Brad.
Never had